All right, how do you find the best niche for your podcast? How do you balance your passion for strategy when choosing your podcast lane? Because choosing the wrong niche or niche, however you want to call it, won't slow your growth, but it could quietly drain your energy episode per episode. And before you know it, you have pod faded away into the podosphere and you don't know what happened with podcasting. Okay, so in this video, I'm going to share with you and challenge you to think about the right mindset in choosing the podcast niche, because this is a question that I get all the time. Ozeal, coach, what do we do here? Do we go narrow and pick a niche? Do I go broad and talk about many interests? What's the right way of doing it? Now, I'm going to preface this by saying really the right way is how you feel is best at that moment. Now, as a coach, because I'm going to be like, hey, you're creative. You can talk what you want to talk. If you want to talk about a hobby and have your girlfriends, your friends, your boys come out and your cousins and talk about the show and just ramble, and I'll go on and on and on and post it on social media. Hey, guys, listen to my podcast. If you want to do that, by all means, that is what you could do. And there's no judgment on you. Like, more power to you. However, I'm speaking to my speakers, my consultants, my coaches, my entrepreneurs who are looking to position their podcasts as a brand asset to build a community and attract people into their ecosystem. Those are my people. So if that's you, this is for you. But if you're, I think you're going to get value regardless, because let me say this clearly, that niching down isn't a bad thing. And some of the most interesting podcasts out there right now are super specific and very clear about who they are targeting. For example, a podcast for women who want to live a healthier, plant-based lifestyle. All right. A podcast about entrepreneurship for Gen Xers who are navigating a second career. Very specific, right? The target audience, Gen Xers, women who want to live a healthier plant lifestyle. It's very, very niche as far as who it's for and the outcome you're going to get, right? The Gen Xer that is going for a second career, that's the outcome. And if you're somebody who's in that category, that could be a podcast niche that you may be interested in, right? So if you think about that, I mean, those are not limiting, right? Those are not like tying you down to one thing. It's very clear and specific if that's something that you're very passionate about. All right. So one of the real mistakes that I see a lot of people is, and this is what I say when it comes to niching. It's not about niching down. All right. The problem isn't choosing a niche without, asking the right questions first. Okay. I don't tell my coaching clients to go ahead and dial it in. I'll press a little bit. I'll definitely try to dig in as far as why and who they're going to serve. But, I want to challenge them, as I'm challenging you right now in this video, to be brutally honest about who you are actually trying to impact, what transformation you want to give your ideal listener. So I believe in clarity before commitment. Like, let's get clear on what we want and what does success look like before we even commit to a lane. All right. So that's first things first. Now, what are some things to give you the validation? Let's go over the validation test. Before you press record, you need to validate the idea. And one of my favorite strategies that I share with my coaching clients is that I'll use this, and I use this all the time. I'm like, hey, write down, 52 episode ideas. That's a year, one episode a week, 52 episodes, and just write them down. And everything that's related to the topic idea that you have for your show. And you'll find that it does feel like, you're forcing, and it's like, it's a bit kind of like, really, I don't know if I can come up with 52 ideas, but listen to the way that feels. That'll do two things. Number one, when you write it out, the passion will be very apparent when it comes to like, oh, I could talk about this, and you're just jotting it down. Like these are, you go endless, right? Days for days writing about topics. And writing 52 episodes could be effortless. On the other hand, if you feel like, man, I'm writing this down and I'm not really feeling this, or I just can't come up with enough ideas, that's a signal. That's definitely telling you something, and that's feedback, and definitely pay attention to that. It's not the algorithm. It may be just you not figuring out what this niche is supposed to be. And again, it'll genuinely be, it'll show you what you're interested in, if about the topic, and again, if you have sustainability. And if you can't get 52 episodes in there, then it may be worth looking at a different niche. All right. So the validation test, highly recommend it. 52 ideas, write it all down. And if that works for you, like, let me know, comment down below if that is something that you've done, or after you do this exercise, share with me. I would love to hear like the value and what you got out of that. Okay. So do that. The other thing is really asking yourself, again, in choosing the right niche. And this is what a lot of podcasters skip. But you're not going to skip this. You got this. Ask yourself, should I even launch this podcast? What? Zeal, what are you talking about? The whole reason I'm following you and checking out your content is because I want to start a podcast. Listen, we're talking about picking the right niche. And you should ask yourself, should I even launch this podcast? Not can I, but does this podcast help reach my end goal? Is this going to provide true value, whether it's education or entertainment? Is it going to resonate with my people? Ask yourself that. If that answer is unclear, launching a podcast will cost you time, energy, and trust me, my friends, it'll also cost you money. I can't tell you how many times podcasters will spend a ton of money on buying all the things, launch it, and then fade away. So don't do that, okay? Really ask yourself, should I even launch this podcast? This is even before you even, and this is where a coaching comes in. I can help you with that. A little shameless plug. I do that a lot. I've actually have helped. Side note, I've actually shared, I've helped a podcaster go wanting to launch this thing. And then after a conversation, we ended up going elsewhere and in a different direction. And she got lit up and was excited and was able to knock out 52 episode ideas. And we're able to put together a nice podcast brand. And then it's a very successful, sustainable podcast, simply because she took the time to ask the question or hire a coach to be able to figure out, is this worth considering? So that is the bigger question. Okay. And, this is, you're asking now, okay, so how do I validate this idea? And here's a few tips that I'm going to share with you that can help you. This is where like light research really helps out. One of my friends, and I think it just gets overlooked, is Google Trends. Go and plug in the interest, go to Google Trends and see if there's interest over time. You get to see if there's actually people, an audience there that would be attracted to the podcast episode. There's keywords everywhere. It's a keyword research tool. Again, this is just to understand the language, to really know if there's something like, people that are actually going to latch on to the episode, especially when you get into a niche. Okay. There's tools like vidIQ, TubeBuddy, that will give you keywords and information that's related to the podcast niche. Super helpful. Another like secret that I have that I share with my clients, this is a really good one, is Amazon. Yeah, now I'm not telling you to like buy a book, okay? Amazon. You can go to Amazon, you can search the topic, the niche, and then just look at the book titles and reviews. Okay, so you look at the book titles and see what's out there, what does the market look like? And then you look at the reviews and see if there's anybody who's like giving really good, valuable feedback. And by that, I mean, it'll be maybe a plant, let's take the plant-based lifestyle. book and you read a review and then somebody says, I gave, and go to like the 1 or 2 stars. Those are the ones that are going to sound off. Some of them are a little haters, but there's some that will actually give really good constructive feedback, and look for those. And some of them will say, hey, I wish this book would have this, or you did not cover this in depth. That's all signals of interest, but also that gives you a lot of content ideas to be like, this wasn't covered. Let me go ahead and cover that on my podcast, or maybe take that snippet, turning into a question, and then cover that on your show. Ideas, okay? That's super. It's about being strategic and doing your research, okay? We're not looking for perfection here. You're looking for signals of interest, and this is how I have helped my clients do this, okay? So hopefully that helps. In closing, I just want to share this, that the most impactful the best podcast niches, aren't the smallest ones. It's the one that aligns with your passion, your purpose, your curiosity, your goals as a creator, entrepreneur, and last but not least, definitely last but not least, is the people who you want to serve. I'm going to record another video talking about the importance of having an audience first driven strategy, which is, I believe, the thing that really makes me stand out as a podcast coach. A lot of podcasters be like, you should launch a podcast because you're going to make 6 figures in 6 months and all. I'm not that guy. I do feel like there's a lot of value in podcasts, and depending on what niche you want to get involved, there's a lot of great brand positioning opportunities that are being missed by a lot of podcasters. But niching down is not scary. It doesn't have to be scary. That's how you build something with passion and strategy. Okay, you could do both. It's just a matter of really digging in and figuring out what lands for you, and more importantly, your audience. All right. So if this landed with you, huge favor, go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. All right. Subscribe. I'm going to continue doubling down on the YouTube channel. I believe in this channel. If you're listening to this on the podcast, on the audio podcast, it's going to be on Creator Factor. So if you're listening on Creator Factor, shout out to my Creator Factor fam. And thank you so much for everything, for your support. Subscribe, share. You can follow me at The Real Ozeal. I'll post some content related to podcasting and helping you grow your brand with podcasting. And if you're interested, okay, in having a one-on-one coaching call, all right, if you're serious about podcasting, I do offer a podcast brand reset, and I also have a 20-minute clarity call that we can jump on to see if maybe it's worth us working together. I do have a few coaching packages that we can work on that I offer, and that could be super helpful in making sure that you launch this podcast with meaning and passion and strategy. Okay, so I'll make sure that I posted it down below. And thanks again for checking out the podcast, Creator Factor, and of course for joining me on the YouTube channel. Stay tuned for more content like this. Until next time, peace and one love.